Hey everyone, so I think today is day 4 of 50 days of trash. We are getting rid of all of this stuff that is just everywhere. It's so, it feels so good to get this stuff out of the house. And a lot of it, let's be honest, it's kind of procrastination. And I mean, we don't know what to do. I know that I feel that way. And today we're tackling something I bet a lot of people don't know what to do. And that is our unused medicines or expired medicines. So go through your cabinet and get all of your expired medicines or unused medicines that you're not using anymore. Look at your over-the-counter, your cold medicines, your headache medicines, your pain medicines, whatever they might be. Check them. All of them, I think you all probably all know this, but all of them have a date. They have a date when they are no longer good. Now, as you can see, I have a ton of this stuff, and I'm going to say, I've had cancer a couple of times, and so I've been on a lot of medication, and the doctors, I'd be on something for a while, and then they'd say, we need to stop that, and we need to start something else. And so I'd have medicine that never got used, and then they might come back to it. And so, anyway, you end up with tons of medicine, but you don't even have to have cancer to have a whole bunch of medicine. And most of these are prescription medicines, not all of them. These are, this is like a Imodium, but it expired. If you have it in there, like in these little push-out tabs, each of those also have a date. So like these, I checked them, these expired in 2022. And so all of these things have an expiration date. But if you're not using them, get them out of your house. It's just adding to the clutter in your house. 2, it can also be a hazard. If you have little kids or grandkids or something like that, and they get into this, that could be a problem. And if you, like, I do real estate, so like if you are selling your home or selling something like that and you have prescription medicines in there, that could be a problem. People might steal them or they might do all kinds of things. And so it's just not a good idea to have them around. But like everybody else, it's like, well, what are you supposed to do with them? And it is a hard question because it changes. I can tell you, many years ago, probably 30 years or so ago, 35 years or so ago, my family owned a nursing home, and I actually worked with the pharmacist as their farm tech. And when we had medicines that we had to get rid of at the time, the pharmacist, and this was Kentucky state law at the time, it had to be supervised by a pharmacist, but you would take it and you would run it through the disposal, grind it all up and wash it out and get rid of it. For a long time, they would tell people to flush your unwanted drugs down the toilet, but they don't say that anymore. They have changed their advice on that. They don't really want you doing that. They don't want the meds getting into our water systems, and I mean they have concerns about that. They have environmental concerns about it. And I'm just going to tell you, so I looked it up to see what the current recommendations are, and I'm also going to tell you that even the current recommendations are conflicting. It depends upon which source you go to. They'll tell you to do different things. So I'm going to read you some stuff. This is the stuff, I got this from the EPA. I don't know which one to follow, but I thought let's do the EPA. And so here are the things that they recommend. They say if you have household medicines, 5 options that you can take. DEA take-back days. Find local law enforcement on a day that they're doing DEA Take Back Days. They do this twice a year, April and October. And you can check the DEA site. If it's April or October and you want to, or if you want to wait until April or October and do it then, you can check DEA's website and find out more about that. Kiosk at pharmacies. They say that the DEA has like an authorized collector locator that you can check on. Kiosk at law enforcement agencies. You can check to see if the police station or something near you has a spot. Mailback envelopes. You can use postage paid pre-addressed mailback envelopes for unwanted medicine. Or community takebacks. They say community groups sometimes sponsor pharmaceutical takebacks. Now, that all sounds great, and I'm not saying that these are impossible. I will tell you that I've tried to do some of these before and have not been able to do it. I've checked with my pharmacy. I actually, because of over the years, I've gone to multiple pharmacies and I've checked with them. They do not take them back. They do not have a way to take them back. And whenever I'm done, I've been told to go to different places. And I have driven all over trying to do that. And I have not been able to get that to work. Obviously, the DEA, I don't know if that works or not. I haven't tried that. But again, that's only twice a year. So it's just not really very practical. So the pharmacies, I've also called the police departments and asked if I could bring them there, and I've been told no. This may not be the case in your city. Maybe they do in your city. You can check it out. But I guess I'm just letting you know that even though this is the recommended action by DEA, this is hard to do. It may be very hard to actually make this work. So, this is still the DEA. The DEA says that if there are no take-back options available, here's the things they tell you to do. Take your drugs out of their original containers, mix them with an undesirable substance like cat litter or used coffee grounds, put the mixture into a disposable container with a lid. So I have a couple of old soup plastic things from soup from the grocery store, or into a sealable bag, maybe both. Now, this is one thing that I hadn't thought about until I read this. It's like conceal or remove any personal information from the empty containers. Now, I have been taking empty containers forever and putting them in the recycling. I mean, they're plastic containers, and I figured that would be a perfect thing. And they are recyclable. I mean, it says on there that they're recyclable and that you should do that. But it hadn't occurred to me to take off the prescription names. And after I read that, I thought, well, that does kind of make sense, because if somebody came across this, they would have my name, my address. And they would also have prescriptions and prescription numbers, and they might be able to call pharmacies and get access to meds using my account information. And which I guess we want to discourage. There's part of me that's like, well, that's not really my problem. It's like, well, is it? I don't know. It could be your problem. I mean, if there's a record showing that you're getting these meds inappropriately and they trace it back to you instead of somebody else, that could be a problem. So I hadn't really thought about that, but that probably is a good idea. Is get a marker, get something like that, mark out all of your information, the prescription information, everything else before you get rid of these containers. And so again, check all of them for the dates. Even if it's over-the-counter stuff, it will have a date on there. And get rid of this stuff that's expired. And then the final step is you take the sealed container with the mixture and the empty drug containers, and now you can put them in the trash. So that's what EPA tells us to do. I don't really completely understand why it's better. I mean, I don't know why they're telling us to pour drugs from one plastic container where they're sealed and with a lock lid into another plastic container that also has a lid that doesn't even lock on, and why that's a better solution. I don't really know that. I mean, it seems to me if we're doing that, we can just put the whole thing with the lock lid into the trash. But maybe you want to recycle the containers. You know, I kind of get that. I like to recycle whatever I can. You know, what happens to the recycling after it leaves my house, that's a whole nother story, and I don't even really know what to say about that. It's just like, I don't know if they do it right or not. I'm just trying to do my part. And I can see where you might want to recycle the containers. But I do think, kind of going through this, I do think it's a good point. If you decide that you're going to put these containers in something, get a marker, block out all of the prescription information, block out your personal information, black it all out, or if you can, remove the label completely, and then you can dispose of it. That's probably a good idea. You know, I am going to appeal to people watching this. If there is a pharmacist, or if there is someone maybe who knows more about this than I do, you know, I would welcome your comments and corrections on this. I am having a very hard time understanding why it's better to like empty this into this container and throw that in the trash versus just throwing this in the trash. But I'll leave that to some of you guys to do it. But I can tell you that one way or the other, now one of the things when I look at this and I'm reading these instructions, you know, one of the things I want to do is I do want to get rid of stuff responsibly. I mean, I don't want to be getting rid of things that are a problem. And so there are some medications, I mean, there are some, you know, obviously these need a prescription for you to use them. But as we all know, there's different levels of prescriptions, and some of them are controlled substances, which are like a next level. And for those, I would say you do want to take an extra step and make sure that those are disposed of in a proper manner. That probably would be something where you would, you know, try to make sure that those go to a police or something like that, or an EPA something, you know, down the road, DEA retrieval. But for these others, you know, it's not as hard as you might think. You can, you know, I don't know that I would throw the pills directly in the trash, but you can put them in a sealed plastic bag. That actually works. Or you can put them in like a used plastic container, you know, a margarine tub, an old soup tub, something like that. And you can throw them away in the regular trash. It doesn't really require anything much more than that. But that's it. I have, I don't know if you can see this, I have a ton of medicines here, and it's all going in the trash today. So if you want to look this stuff up, you can look on the EPA website, and they can tell you that. But I'm going to tell you, if you look it up online, you're probably going to find different advice from different agencies, and you may want to do it. But the bottom line is this: it's not good to have this stuff laying around. It's not good for lots of reasons. So let's get rid of it. And so that concludes. I think we're on day 4 of 50 Days of Trash. We're getting rid of old medicines. And so that's it for today. I hope to see you tomorrow. And take care, everybody. Bye.